A baby wasn't fucking born racist. Where did it come from? Who taught the baby? And that's why I say vulnerability is a superpower. A lot of people in general can say vulnerability is a sign of weakness, but bro, I am the person I am because I'm vulnerable. Every level there's a new devil. They always went together. I couldn't fucking have alcohol and not have a line of coke. Or I couldn't have a line of coke and not have alcohol because I'd get anxiety. My heart rate would go up. I'd be like, fuck, give me a drink. I need to suppress it, you know, because the alcohol suppresses the anxiety. That's why a lot of people drink, you know. Everyone knows that a BMW is more expensive than a Toyota. Everything is energy. And how does it make you feel when you're sitting in a BMW versus sitting in a Toyota? It's a different vibration.
Why is it so hard to love yourself?
You take action from two things, either inspiration or desperation.
So without further ado, I'm Radin Jerome. Wherever you are in your life or wherever you're going, whether financially, spiritually, or for your health, I hope you're on your way. Now let's get into it. I want to start off by asking, who are you? What do you do?
Such a deep question.
Such a general question.
Yeah, I mean, so deep as to say like, who am I or what am I? I mean, I always refer to everything as energy. But yeah, like, for a long time it was like we all think we are our bodies. So my physical appearance played a big role in the way that I felt about myself because I grew up really lanky and skinny, and so I was comparing myself to other people. My mum said, you can't play soccer because you're too skinny. Again, like the emphasis on physical appearance is a big deal, right? Don't leave the table until you finish all your food, right? Eat some more food. You have to put some weight on. But what is that? That's care of a mother or of a parent that wants their child to, right? But how does that actually psychologically make you think or, make you feel about yourself? So that was the basis of like, the start of what I had to go through growing up and through my teenage years through 20s was the insecurity of my physical appearance. So who am I is like came from realizing that you're not your body. You're a spiritual being living in this meat suitcase, right? It's like this does not define like the energy that's projecting from inside of me is not coming from a fucking leg or my ankle, right? So we're psychologically conditioned because of like advertisements and all this shit that's around us that makes us feel like if you don't look like this, then you're not okay. You're not good enough. So for many years, man, that was the problem for me. And also just my own lack of confidence. I just didn't have it, and I always would be a lot of fear, scared a lot, I don't like confrontational situations. I would not be the fighter. I'd be the person that would stand back. The only time I had a fight at school one time was when everyone was pushing me to do it. They're like, yeah, you have to do it, you have to fight. I don't remember his name, George Dibb,
Shout out to George.
Yeah, shout out to George Dibb. But like, I'm not that type of person. I would get so scared easily. The only time I would get aggressive or ever like be involved in something like confrontation would be if I was in a nightclub or if I was drunk, because you lose those senses when you've had a few drinks. You're like, I'm a sick, I can take on people or whatever because you feel more confident, right? So, and then that comes with so much more because you don't feel good enough. You're always comparing yourself to other people. You're trying to fit in, so you change the way you wear your clothes. Right, I was wearing baggier clothes, so that you couldn't see how lanky I was. You know what I mean? And then that comes with bullying and people calling you names, and then you don't stand up for yourself. You don't say anything. You get triggered. You're emotionally reactive, but then you don't know how to control it. You don't know how to feel that or understand it. So for many years, I went through that, and then came relationships, girls, like not being able to find the right one. But deep down, I always knew that. I had this high standard, this high standard of caliber of woman that, that I believed that I deserved, So there were a couple of relationships there that I just settled for because guess what? At least I got a girlfriend, right? But all the boys, all my friends would all be in relationships, and everything would be working out for them. And then I've got 3 older sisters, so they're all married, kids. And then every week or every fortnight, Dad, when are you getting married? Grandmother, come on, Luke, you're getting old. Fucking 27, man. I was young,
Yeah.
And so you're hearing that, and everything around you is telling you that you should be doing this, you should be getting married, And again, this is not about judging anyone. Get the fuck married when you want to get married. You feel like you're right ready at 22, go for it. There's no right or wrong, But for me, that's what I felt the pressure. So then I fell into something, and I nearly got married. It didn't work out. But who am I? Is someone who is not willing to conform to what your family wants, what your friends think you should do, and what the world thinks you should do, and how you should live your life. It's taking yourself out of the box of any sort of religion, any sort of way of life, and really tuning into your truth of who it is that you are, not based off your culture or history, or obviously that plays a part because, we evolve through different cultures and religions and faiths and what life was like 100 years ago, 200 years ago. But it's up to you to delve deeper into like your existence of who you true are, your true essence. So that's a big basis of like my transformation of who I am today, because I took the time to really love myself, because the world made me believe that I was not lovable, So I'm driven by that freedom to be myself, to be authentic. And that's why I truly believe that that's what's missing in everybody's life. For you to be your true authentic self and fuck what everyone thinks about you, and show up and shine, and don't try to conform or be like anybody else. That's who I am.
Great answer, can I just say. I think, when you were describing that to me, what came to my mind was you've developed such a love for yourself, before you even mentioned loving yourself, that you do what you want to do, what's right for you, instead of conforming to any of the norms where your parents are putting pressure on you, all the social norms. Why is it so hard to love yourself?
Well, I mean, no one ever taught us that it was important. We're living in an exterior world. You're always talking to your mate. You're always talking to someone else. You're always working. The energy is always being projected outwards. The only time you ever look at yourself is when maybe you're getting changed, or for women in an instance, or when they're doing their makeup and they're looking at themselves in the mirror. When you're brushing your teeth, that's when you look at yourself or whatever. But to actually like spend time with yourself, and that's basically one of the exercises that changed my life, was talking to myself in the mirror. Like actually having a conversation with myself, or actually forgiving myself for things that I did wrong in the past, that I did against myself. Recognizing myself for things that I'm proud of, and actually speaking it, just like you would to someone you love, right? And that's why I say that self-love is the secret to success, because a lot of us attach ourselves to materialistic possessions or things on the outside for happiness. It's like, when I get that apartment, I'll be happy, or when I get that mansion, I'll be happy, or when I get that Ferrari, I'll be happy. And you're always chasing something that is just temporary, So how do you discover inner peace? How do you feel like happy and content within yourself without anything from the outside? And that's what a lot of us are constantly seeking. That something out there is going to make you happy, something outside of yourself, right? And the truth is, like, when you're not happy within yourself, you can think, well, I'm going to go and live in the Maldives, or I'm going to go to Hawaii, and then I'll be happy. It's like, I hate this place, I want to go over there. And then you go over there, and then after a couple of weeks, you realize you're not happy again. It's like, because happiness is internal, it's not fucking external. You can't go to the shop, you buy a nice watch, but after 2 weeks, if you got depression, you'll still have depression. Well, you're going to look at your watch and go, fuck, it's a nice Rolex, but I still feel like shit inside. So, I think that's the biggest problem, that, even going to the gym, like for many years, I used steroids. I went to the gym, I fucking injected it. And that's one of the things that, I know a lot of people go to the gym and they do use stuff, and I'm not judging anyone. But I think it's the truth of like really asking yourself the question, am I really happy with who I am? Or am I running away from that? Am I having to use something external to make me feel like I'm enough? Because feeling enough is what it's about. Being able to feel enough without anything else. That's peace. That's the freedom. You know, there's nothing wrong with riding around in a Maybach or a Rolls Royce or shit like that, but get your shit sorted first. You know, you hear about so many successful people necking themselves because eventually they realize, this is my perception or assumption, that you get to this point where nothing makes you happy. No matter how much fucking money you have. Buy this, buy that, buy this. Once you've got enough of this Ferrari, go buy that Lambo. And then you're still not happy, you know? And you hear about these stories of people killing themselves, and it's like, why? Like, money is supposed to make you happy. It's supposed to make life better.
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, it's an internal job, and it's when you take the time to love yourself and spend time with yourself, everything changes, man. Because it's not about being selfish, it's about self-care. And you have to live with you for the rest of your life. So fucking take care of you first. Because when you make you strong, that strength spills over to everyone around you. You know, and like Lisa Nichols says, she says, you know, when you're going on this new journey of trying to discover your power and who it is that you are, everybody's like, the doorway was only created for you. But everyone's trying to take all these people with them. And it's like, it wasn't made to fit everyone. It was just made to fit you. And it's your time now to go through that door, to grow, to heal yourself, to overcome your fears and your insecurities, you know, and then once you've made it to a level, like, you know, a good analogy or example is, I have two of my sisters that work with me in my company. And how did that happen? Well, because I took care of me first. And then I said, hey, now come and work with me. I'll give you, you can work with me. You work in a positive environment. You don't work 9 to 5. You know, you set your own schedule and you have some more peace and freedom because you're running your own show. You don't have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to a job, you know? So I took care of myself first and then I take care of others.
Yeah. I really like that. And that's a lesson that I've actually had to learn as well. It's, you know, 2 years ago, I came out of a 7-year relationship. And when I came out of the 7-year relationship, I moved to New York. I was there for 6-7 months and just to find myself. And I delved deep into books and understanding what happened. And I read books like The Dynamics Between Men and Women. And, you know, something you said there that resonated with me. You know, you got to take care of yourself first to help other people. And you know the saying, I've got your back, you've got my back. That's the worst because it has to be, I've got my back for you and you've got your back for me.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And you got to take care of yourself first before you can help other people. Now, I've got friends that are in relationships, and this has also happened to me, where their girlfriends are just saying, you just don't make me happy anymore. Not realizing that they have to make themselves happy. What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, relationships is, you know, one of the things I've learned with relationships, because the thing is, whether it's a partner or whether it's a friend or whether it's a family member, relationships thrive off clarity. And where does clarity come from? It comes from communication, which a lot of relationships, there's no clarity because the communication is missing, right? Because we hide the truth. We hold back on things that we want to say, but we don't because we're like, maybe they'll leave me. Maybe there's the fear of rejection, right? Or maybe if I say that, I'll hurt their feelings. So I play it down. I don't say anything. So that's why so much confidence and self-worth is required within yourself, because one of the things that I've learned is speak your truth even if your voice shakes. Always do what's right for you, right? Even if you feel guilty for doing so. Because there's the guilt of like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen if I speak it, if I say it? What if I don't like something and I don't know how they're going to react? So then we don't say anything, right? And then you're not being authentic. So again, in relationships, I say the authenticity of who you are is what's stopping you from being in alignment with attracting what you're supposed to have in your life versus you being fake to keep a relationship because you're afraid of being alone, right? So then we settle for, you know, well, it's, you know, I can't be my authentic self, but at least I've got a relationship. At least I'm in one. At least I've got someone. It's not perfect. It's not supposed to be perfect. Relationships is all about compromise, but Compromise means communication, means empathy, means compassion, means the deeper you go within yourself, especially with self-love, because that's one of the basis of you being able to understand someone else, is having to know yourself. The deeper you know yourself, the deeper you're able to actually have empathy and love and compassion for someone else, because you have it for yourself. And that's why I say you can't give what you don't have. So give it to yourself and understand yourself, and then you'll be able to understand more people and understand people on a deeper level. But, you know, a friend of mine once said to me recently, she said, you know, a healthy relationship, and I've heard this before in a quote on Instagram, that a healthy relationship is where you help each other become the best versions of yourselves, right? And you both want each other to become the best versions of yourself. But it's also where you put yourself first and they put themselves first. I'm your second priority or third priority. Your first priority is to take care of you, right? But then there's also the other part of relationships where many people change who they are for the other person.
Yes.
You know? And I feel that, yes, I get it, you know, in relationships, because there's a lot of love, emotion, and, you know, you want to make the other person happy as well, you know, so you kind of do adjust a little bit. But I think that no one should force someone to be a specific. I remember in past relationships that if, you know, I didn't like something about what they were wearing or whatever, I would tell them to change it, you know, because I didn't like how they were dressing or something. And now I think about that, I'm like, nah, man, like, sure, it's different if she says to me, hey, babe, what do you like? Like, tell me what you like. Like, you want me to wear this for you or whatever, and she wants to make me happy by doing that, that's different. But for me to come in and go, I don't like that, what you're wearing, you're not allowed to wear that, or you have to change the way you speak, or I don't like whatever. Something like that, you know what I mean? Like, don't change someone, allow them to be their authentic self. And I believe that, you know, as the relationship evolves, you will know if it's in alignment with what it is that you believe you deserve. And then it feels, you know, what you feel is real. And I think a lot of us are dismissing our true intuition, our true feeling. And that's really what gets you out of alignment with where you're supposed to be going in your life, because you're not trusting yourself, you know? But yeah, relationships is very complex. It's challenging, but it requires a lot of communication. And if you're not willing to really be open and honest, and that's why I say vulnerability is a superpower. A lot of men can say vulnerability, or people in general can say vulnerability is a sign of weakness, but bro, I am the person I am because I'm vulnerable, because I'll tell you exactly how I feel. And if you want to see that as a sign of weakness, I don't give a shit. And that's why I'll speak my truth, because, for example, if I attract a woman into my life and I'm vulnerable with her and she goes, oh, you're so weak by being that way, I'm like, well, fuck off then. Because guess what? I'm not afraid to lose you, because I'm more afraid of losing myself trying to please you. And I won't fucking please you. I'll be always putting myself first. So by doing that, I will attract someone who can respect me the way that I am and be able to treat me the way that I deserve to be treated, because of the way I treat myself. It always comes back from you. It all starts with you.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's the one thing that, you know, in your 20s, you think you know it all. That's what I've gone through. I thought I knew it all, you know, and really your 20s was, for me anyway, was learning. Learning, being hurt, taking drugs, drinking, partying, you know, and trying to figure it out, man. And I think I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Are you thirsty? Sparkling or still?
Sparkling, please. Click.
So how difficult are relationships now? How have they changed?
Well, I think that we just, again, because we haven't spent enough time with ourselves, we don't know ourselves enough, we don't have that confidence that we should have. I think the hard part for a lot of women out there especially is, if you've got 3 kids, you're in a marriage, and he's the one that brings in all the money, you're fucked.
Why is that?
Well, because you're relying on this person to pay the bills, to put the food on the table, you know? And a lot of people, like, in that situation, you know, they can't do it. They can't make decisions for themselves. Because, yeah, money is powerful in that sense, right? If you had some coin behind you, well, you'd go, well, fuck this, you're treating me like shit. I don't deserve to be treated like that. I'm taking care of the kids. You're the one that just goes to work and comes back and expects food on the table.
Sure.
But you disrespect me, you abuse me emotionally or physically, and I ain't going to put up with this bullshit anymore. And I've got fucking $100,000 in the bank, so I'm fucking moving out. But because you don't have that, that causes you to continue to be conditioned and programmed in such a fucked up way, subconsciously, that you end up eventually, after 20 years of that shit, you end up going, I can't handle this anymore. And you're so freaking screwed in the head. And then you try and change. And then you realize that shit, man, I need to do something different. I can't do this anymore. And, you know, so that's one part of like a lot of relationships. And it can be the other side too. There can be the you know, the man is the one that's taking care of the kids and the woman's the one that brings in all the money and whatever, you know, it can be vice versa. It doesn't always have to be but you know, in many cases that I've experienced that's the story, you know? So, you know, I guess, you know, that side of things, it's like, we've got to evolve from this whole thing of like, the purpose of life is to get fucking hooked up, have kids and reproduce. It's like, that's how we've been culturally conditioned. You know, and it's like, nah, man, like, fucking work on yourself. Overcome your fucking fears and your insecurities and your doubts and all that shit so that you know your worth and you know what you deserve, and then you won't tolerate bullshit in a relationship. And a lot of us are tolerating shit and we're allowing stuff that's very unhealthy, that's fucking hurtful, and we don't do anything about it, right? So remember, everything that's healthy will come from love. You know, I say you can't give what you don't have. So if someone's treating you like shit all the time, guess how they feel within themselves? Hurt people, right? A baby wasn't fucking born racist. Where did it come from? Who taught the baby? You know? So, you know, it always goes back to like, people emphasize this whole, and it's become really big, obviously, this whole word of like narcissism, right? And really all it is just a fucking hurt person. Someone who's been abused, someone who's grown up in an abusive household, someone who's grown up in maybe a sexually abused household, someone that's witnessed that kind of shit, the father doing it to the mother or the mother doing it to the cousin or whatever it is, and then that person grows up through that experience and then fucking just repeats the cycle, repeats the behavior. Everything is learned behavior. Where did it fucking come from? So this is also something that can trigger a lot of people because they're out here pointing the finger at these narcissists or these hurt people because of what they went through, but really, they're just fucked up. They've been through so much shit, so now they're just replaying their program, what they've fucking been through in their life, in their mind, now to other people because they don't know any different. You know, so it's like, you have to be the change.
You're nature versus nurture. So you don't think narcissism is nature? You don't think you're built with it? It's not like a condition?
A condition? Built with it. Like I said, everything is learned behavior. You got to learn it from somewhere. I mean, is someone born to kill people? Like, is it in someone's DNA that, like, as they evolve, even if they were born into a really loving family, all of a sudden they just turn around and go, fuck, I'm going to go on the street, buy a gun and kill someone?
No, I say this because I know two brothers. One's a narcissist and one's completely 0% narcissist. And 2 years apart, 3 years apart maybe. And I just thought one of them was probably, born with it. Maybe a condition you're born with. That's the only reason I say that.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously there's possibilities. Nothing's impossible. You know what I mean? There's possibilities. But I mean, I think we've learned a lot from our environment. Who you surround yourself with, man, it makes a massive difference. That's why I moved to Dubai. Because of the energy, because of the affluence, because of an environment, especially when I go to the gym, everyone's jacked. Everyone's driving in Lambos and Ferraris and fucking Rolls Royces and shit. And how do you feel? Especially if you're not on that level, you're like, damn, So it's inspiring, it's motivating. It's not about the materialistic things, but for me, it's about energy. Yeah. Everything's energy. A Rolls Royce is on a specific frequency.
Yeah.
And that frequency is very, very high.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, to be sitting in a Rolls Royce is part of not trying to think I'm better than anybody else or whatever. It's energy, man. It's all energy. This leather is a specific type of leather that's very expensive, right? And if you don't go through the process of growing and evolving and becoming a better version of yourself and overcoming your fears and taking on more responsibility, which brings you more results, you can't afford this stuff. But it's quality. It is. And it feels a specific way. You know, last year when I first started, I was driving around in my dad's Toyota Camry, 1998. He gave it to me. Cream beige one. And
I have a car.
And I remember, you know, driving that thing and I completely forgot about like business and money and all that stuff. I was just focusing on my coaching stuff. And then I didn't realize, because I eventually was doing all right and I bought my parents an Audi. And just to give back to them because, you know, they helped me a lot and I wanted to just gift them with a car, you know. So I bought them an Audi. And then a few months later, I'm still driving this Camry, you know, and I forgot about, you know, my environment, what I drive, how it makes you feel, this and that. So yeah, and then I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Why don't I buy myself a car? I deserve it. Like, I've been working hard. Like, what about me? You know, like, yeah, put yourself first, but I put my parents first in that sense, you know,
Yeah.
because of, you know, their life and dedication to raising 4 children, and they did their best and that kind of stuff, you know. So I bought myself a BMW. And then when I started driving that thing, it's like, what's the difference between driving that? I could have bought a Lexus. I could have bought a Toyota Camry with leather seats and, you know, the luxury model. But everyone knows that a BMW is more expensive than a Toyota, right? And everything is energy. And how does it make you feel when you're sitting in a BMW versus sitting in a Toyota? It's a different vibration. So for me, everything is energy, everything is vibration, and everything that you want is on a specific frequency. And so that's how I think, you know, and so hence why your environment is very important, because what you surround yourself with is what you become, because energy is contagious, right? So, and it's the same thing with surrounding yourself with people who are very negative and complaining all the time and gossiping and shit like that. It doesn't help you to grow. And I believe, as my wise father said, when I was going for a walk with my parents one night, not long ago, probably last year or something, I said, Dad, what's the purpose of life? And he said, to grow. And I was like, wow, that's so simple. And that's what this life is about. It's about growing. What are you here for? If you're not growing, what are you doing? Waiting to die? So that's why it's part of my job as what I do, because I understand that, yeah, there's fears. Yeah, everything is mental. The conversation in your head is going to stop you and limit you from things that you could possibly be doing. But if you listen to the story, because of your past and what you've gone through, guess what? You don't grow. So the purpose of life is to grow. And so that's what we're here to do.
So nice. So deep, actually, what your dad said. It's so true. When you stop growing is when you start dying. You know, there's a quote. It said, when a pigeon flies at the same altitude as the eagle assumes it's the eagle. So you have to fly at the same altitude as who you want to surround yourself with. And Dubai is crazy for that. Just 2 days ago, I was at a guy's house. He's 26 years old. His girlfriend's 20. He's got a 3-story penthouse right in the city looking Burj Khalifa. Self-made, supports his family at the age of 26. Rolls Royce, Bugatti, you know, calls somebody. We might go on holiday tonight. Yeah, cool. Did you book tickets? Yeah, we're leaving this time. And I sat down. I sat with him. I was at his house for 5 hours. I sat on his couch. I said, you know, this is not normal, right? He said, what do you mean? I said, it's not normal for a 26-year-old to have a Rolls Royce and a penthouse. People that drive Rolls Royces are in their 60s and 70s. It's a whole lifetime's worth of work. And he said to me, what are you saying? I don't even think I'm successful. So there's a certain level of hunger in Dubai that just pushes you to keep growing. And, you know, to be in those circles, you have to also, you know, spend like him, think like them,
of course,
drive like them. So yeah, it makes sense what you're saying. What was the process you went to go through to accept yourself?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned earlier, the whole facing yourself, that's probably the hardest part. It's like the truth, I don't know where that quote is from. Maybe I don't know if it's the Bible or whatever, but the truth will set you free. Mm. And yeah, the truth of like accepting myself, like, and I think I thrive off that because, it's easy for me to go back on the juice, go to the gym and get jacked up again and shit, and I really feel stronger to just be able to own exactly how I am, and be confident in that. And I think that confidence is everything. And that's why one of my passions is obviously to help people build superpowered confidence. Not just confidence, I want fucking superpowered confidence so that you can go and live your best life and live your dreams, because that's really what's required. It's an additional emphasis on the word, right? The word is the word, like in the beginning, is in the 4 agreements, and I think in the Bible it says as well, that in the beginning there was the word, and the word was God. And so the word and how you speak is what you become. You're always your mind is always paying attention. Your mind is always listening to you. So, you can be conditioned and programmed because of toxic relationships, because of people putting you down all the time, because of your friends telling you that you're not good enough, or that you're ugly, or that you're too fat, or that you're too skinny, you got chicken legs. Like one of my friends who used to, where we used to hang out, he would always say horse legs to me. Right? I don't know where that came from, but that's what he would always say. We're playing soccer, he's like horse legs, right? Chicken legs, lanky, skinny, you look like a rake, eat some more food, you got to put some meat on those bones. All these experiences really, like, as much as people can say, oh, get over it, it's like, yeah, it fucked me good, And so even my 2 best friends, like Hong and Danilo, like they were the ones that always were the strong ones, If there was a fight or there was something, they will be the ones that would be stepping up. And I'm the fucking taller one, but I would never be the one that would try to deal with any confrontational situation, because I was always living in fear, But now it's that fear that drives me.
Wow.
Because I can't afford to let it control me, because then I don't live my dreams. Then I don't live my best life. Then I'm not authentic, So I think that's the case for so many people, is the truth will set you free, and facing your fears, not letting them control you, is what liberates you, And there's levels to it, It's not like, oh, you face one fear and then all of a sudden you're free. It's like, no. But the thing is, because you do it, you grow confidence. Like having uncomfortable conversations, I never would have that. And that is also part of accepting myself now on a higher level, because I'm taking action. I'm not holding back. I'm not being quiet and letting people, talk over me or push me around, or, bring me down. I'm not addressing, I'm basically taking action when I feel insecure, or or I get triggered because of someone saying something to me or whatever. In the past, I would not say anything, but now I confront the person, or I communicate about it, which frees me, because, like I say, if you're not speaking it, you're storing it, and that shit gets heavy. If you're not speaking it, you hold it. And so every time you don't speak your truth because something that's come up for you, or someone said something, guess what you're doing? You're basically just holding it inside. So it becomes a suppressed feeling, suppressed emotion. So a lot of us are carrying all this fucking shit from years and years and years of like triggers and feeling hurt, and people saying things to us, and can be physical abuse or emotional abuse, financial abuse. We're holding all this in, and then eventually, I know I'm digressing, but eventually you get sick, because your body thrives off good energy, right? And that's why I say, like, if you're happy, your body's happy, so you're healthy. The happier you are, the healthier you are, right? But the whole acceptance thing is when I looked at myself in the mirror when I was doing this program back in 2018. I was planning to open a gym, and I wanted to move to Poland, and then this was just part of the self-discovery. And it's like there's step-by-step process. First, I had to stop using cocaine. That was the first thing. No, it wasn't part of the first things. It was like move out of the apartment, because I had this dream and goal that I was going to move to Poland, and I was like, things have to change. Something has to change in my life. I can't keep doing the same shit. But quitting the cocaine was very important at that time, because it was something that I was just heavily involved in all the time. Like, it was there all the time. I had it at home, you know, and it was so easy for me to finish work. Had 2 jobs at the time. And after a 15-hour day, come home and go, you know, Luke, that was, you worked hard. You deserve a couple of lines and a drink, you know? So that's what I would do. But
Was it a habit or an addiction?
It made me feel confident. It made me feel powerful. I didn't know how to get that naturally, you know? So I wouldn't say it was an addiction in a sense of like, oh, I need it every day. It was more like every time I had a drink, I had to have, or every time I had a line, I had to have a drink.
Sure.
They always went together. I couldn't fucking have alcohol and not have a line of Coke.
True.
Or I couldn't have a line of Coke and not have alcohol because I'd get anxiety. My heart rate would go up. I'd be like, fuck, give me a drink. I need to suppress it, you know, because the alcohol suppresses the anxiety. That's why a lot of people drink, you know, because it takes away that feeling. But the whole acceptance came from that journey of letting go of things, moving out of my apartment, stop talking to all the boys I was talking to, all the friends that I was giving shit to, and who were supporting the habit, because we were all having fun and living life and whatever. But it was an accumulation of steps that led me to this point where I saw an advertisement for a masterclass for a speaking program. And then I watched it, I signed up for it, and one of the exercises in that program was called the mirror work. And you talk about accepting yourself. This was the moment that I was confronted with myself, because I'd never, ever taken the time to look at myself in the mirror. You know, I remember looking at myself in the mirror and doing my hair and getting changed and trying to look a specific way. I remember being very self-conscious, and every time I'd be in a shopping center or be buying jeans, I'd be really picky on the style or how they looked, because I'd always look at my bum, my ass, to see if they looked right, you know. And so I'd be very observant that way. But this exercise got me to look at myself in the mirror every single day before I started work, and I would have to say these 3 statements. And the first statement was, Luke, I'm proud of you. And I would have to think of 7 things that I'm proud of. And then I would say, Luke, I forgive you for. And I have to think of 7 things that I forgive myself for. And then the third one was, Luke, I'm committed to. And I would have to think of 7 things I'm committed to. So I did that. And the first time I did it, I felt very uncomfortable. And almost to the point where I was like scared. I was scared of myself. And that was the breaking point for me. Because one thing I realized in that moment was that I was afraid of myself. And that fucking hurt me, man. Because I was like, wow, your mind has been programmed by the world, by all these experiences, by people calling you names and shit, to make you afraid of yourself. And that was the pain that hurt me so much that I was just like, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck everyone. I'm going to fucking do my fucking due diligence, this fucking word, to make sure that I fucking have my own back from now on, that I love me, that I'm going to fucking fall in love with me, that I'm going to, you know, show up for me, that I'm going to program my fucking mind. I'm not going to let the world program me and condition me to make me feel like I'm not good enough. So that mirror work exercise, when I realized that, when I felt uncomfortable about spending time with myself, looking into my own eyes, I felt uncomfortable, and I was like, no, you fucking don't, bro. Like, and that conversation in our mind, bro, that was what changed everything for me. And that was where I really started to accept myself, because I started to practice this. It became a habit, and then it became second nature, because now I can look at myself in the mirror and go, you're the fucking shit, bro. You know? And we did it. I got your back. You know, and that's what you're supposed to. You're not supposed to be waiting for someone else to come and fucking save you, because that's what I was waiting for a long time. You know, my sister, I was living with all my sisters in all their houses. They were helping me, and I never took full responsibility, you know? And I really believe that everyone should have their own back. Everyone should be taking full responsibility of their life, and they should not be fucking relying on someone else to save them and to fucking help them to live a life. Because, I mean, where's the fulfillment in that? I think that fulfillment comes from, you know, you working for something and achieving it and going, I fucking did that. I showed up for me. I didn't wait for handouts and for someone to come and say, hey, here you go, you know? So that was the acceptance part, man.
Okay. You've mentioned religion a few times in the Bible. How much of a role has that played into your life?
My mum is probably my biggest inspiration, I would say, because she loves God and Jesus, and like so much that you can't deter her from it, no matter what you say. You know, that is the only way. There's no other way, right? So growing up, she triggered me, because not she triggered me, it's just the motivation that I got, because she was always trying to control me. Go to church, pray, do this, do that. No, you can't do that. And that control all my life then came from, you know, family members and stuff. And, you know, obviously they want the best for you, but because I never took responsibility of my life, I was always controlled. You know, I was always being told what to do this, do that, or people always trying to think they know what's better for me. So the whole religion thing definitely played a big role in who I am now, is because, like I said, I believe that, especially when I started doing this work, my mum was trying to like butt in and say, you know, trying to like push me to talk about God and stuff, you know. But I was like, my purpose here is to communicate with everyone. And if I only talk about Jesus and the Bible, I'm going to miss out on people who practice the Muslim religion, the Buddhist religion, everybody else who practices other religions, you know. And that's not my job. My job is to speak with a universal tongue to everyone, so that everyone can relate. And I don't want to miss out anybody, you know. So I really felt that the whole religion thing it's divisive. And again, from what I've seen on the media, definitely programmed me to see how we are fighting against each other because of religion. And I hate that, you know. I hate that people judge each other based off faith, based off books that were written 50,000 years ago or whatever it is, you know. And so my purpose is unity, is acceptance, is, you know, just because somebody believes in something else that you don't believe in doesn't mean that you have to convert them even. Like, that shit pisses me off even more. People walking around trying to tell other people that this is the only way. You have to fucking, if you don't believe in this, you're going to hell. And it's like, fuck that. You know, like, let people be who they are. But in being who they are, you can hear me and go, yeah, let us be who we are. Yeah, but don't fucking try and tell other people what they need to think or be or believe, you know? So that's what this whole journey is about. It's about your truth, discovering what it is that feels right for you, you know? So the whole religion thing for me, it's like, I'm so open-minded, and I never used to be open-minded because I would judge, and I had this fear of like Islam and the Arabic culture for so many years as well. Even I grew up in Lakemba, like it's all on Wanji Road. There's a mosque on the street. So, and it's also just the European culture and how I was raised that, you didn't connect with these type of people. Like, you stay with this side, you stay on this side, you don't go there, right? So I had to let go of all that, man. And I think it's a blessing for me to be in the Middle East now and to be in Dubai, because I'm also seeing like there's a lot of people from Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, and even just how open-minded a lot of the, Emiratis are, and just how the life is here. It is very open-minded, and no one would know that unless you come here yourself. And that's what I'm all about, is just having that open mind, having that open approach, being accepting and loving to everyone, but not trying to force people to be a specific way or live a specific way or think a specific way or believe a specific. It's up to you, man. I think that's just definitely an old traditional approach of following a specific path, and then you have been raised in a family. And then the hard part is like, Dad, I don't want to be a Muslim anymore. Or Dad, I don't want to be Catholic anymore. Or Dad, I don't want to practice Buddhism anymore. And they're like, what? So I can appreciate how my mum would have, or even my dad was like, whatever. When I first moved into them, I said, I'm not Catholic. You baptized me or you put me in the religion. I didn't choose that. You did, and they can say you're a child of God. I'm like, okay, whatever, man. Like, whatever you believe. But for me, it was like I got out of the box, and I felt I was in a box where this is the only way. And it's not the only way, man. There's fucking heaps of ways, so that's just my mindset. I have an open mind, and I believe that it's up to you to discover your truth and not conform to your family or what the world wants you to be. That's where your freedom is.
Would you say you're more spiritual than religious then?
Whatever you want to call it, man. Like I said, it's, I believe in energy, and I believe that we all are energy, and so if again, I always revert a lot to the Bible, because that's how I was raised, and my mum is just there in my face all the time. And it says in the Bible that, the Holy Spirit works through you. I heard my mum say that all the time. And what is the Holy Spirit? The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. And it's like, well, if the Holy Spirit works through me, then I'm God, because the Holy Spirit is God. So we all are gods. We all have that spiritual essence in us, and so, yeah, I mean, you go deep into that kind of stuff, but yeah, I mean, if you want to call it spiritual, I don't really call myself anything, man. It's just like, I'm like, what is God? Love. They say God is love. I'm like, well, if God is love and I am love, I'm God.
Have you read The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho?
No, I've heard of it.
His whole message is we're all gods.
Yeah.
Great book. I definitely recommend reading it. You mentioned your mum. I read somewhere that your mum triggered you a lot, and that was probably the best thing that ever happened to you.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the thing is, what I've learned recently by a good mentor of mine, Peter Crone, is that your triggers, or somebody triggering you, it's not somebody, like he was, really breaking it down for me. And he was like, somebody said something or somebody made a sound and then you were triggered. So they didn't trigger you, they just made a sound. You triggered yourself. You're triggered because of your past. You're triggered because of your pain, your trauma, your emotions, your whatever that memory is in the past that you've been through, or whatever you've been through in the past. Now your body is having a reaction to something that resonates from the past. Right? So whenever my mum would say something, or whenever my mum would do something, like, to give an example, and this is like really vulnerable, this is like, I get pissed off when someone tries to feed me.
Yeah.
Like if I'm with a chick and she's sitting there and we're having dinner and she gets a fucking fork and she tries to put it in my mouth, and like, no, what do? You just take it, right? Because you're just like, I know she's just trying to be nice, whatever, she's trying to be romantic. Yeah. But I'm sitting there and I'm going, fuck. Yeah. That's reminded me of my mum.
Yes.
So what do? Anyway, I communicate straight away and I go, listen, don't do that again.
Okay. It triggers me.
But it's something that, because of how I was raised, and mum always trying to feed me and eat more food, and that triggered me in terms of, like I told you the story about my physical appearance and how that I've been so insecure about my body for so many years because of those experiences. And even my mum with the whole religion thing, pushing, and that's why I'm inspired by her, because she won't budge. No one can tell her that her religion is wrong. And I love that, because no one can fucking tell me what I believe in.
Yeah.
So I'm inspired by her, and I'm inspired by everybody who believes in what they believe in.
Yeah.
Because it's your right, your life. Choose how you want to live and what you want to believe in. So, I'm not here to tell my mum that she's wrong. But for a few years there, I believed that my parents didn't raise me the way that they should have. So I was pointing the finger. I even sat them down and I read all this stuff about conscious parenting and how they should have parented me and my sisters, and trying to tell them how they should have. And I think about it now, I'm like, fuck, bro, like, what the hell? You're talking to your dad who's 70-something and your mum in the 60s and late 60s, and you're trying to tell them how they should have parented you. And it took me a little bit of time for me to realize that they did their best, and it wasn't my place to tell them how they should have parented me, given the circumstances that they had and the life that they were living back 20, 30 years ago. So I apologized to them, and I went back and said, sorry, you did. I know you were doing your best, and thank you for raising me the way that you did, because if you didn't raise me the way that that you did, I wouldn't be this person I am today. So my mother definitely is someone who will continue to say things, or for me to be triggered by her words or her sounds that she makes. But when I'm triggered, I'm fueled. It's almost like the universe or God sends people into your life, and that's where your mindset comes in, because everything in your life is mindset. If you change the way you think will change, and it will help you to continue to grow. And I see everything that happens for a reason. Everything is happening for you, not to you, right? And when you get triggered, it's a blessing. And it's almost like an electric shock. The universe or God is just coming in that moment for you to be triggered and for you to be charged up a little bit more. Because a lot of my fuel and success and motivation comes from people hating on me, doubting me, judging me, right? Telling me what to do. All of that is I get triggered. And then it's like, well, how do you use that energy? Because it's uncomfortable. Your body reacts, your face goes red, especially if you're a group of people. You feel very insecure, very uncomfortable in that moment. And your heart rate's fucking pumping, And what do you do with it? Do you sit there and go, oh. And that's for many years I didn't know what it was. I couldn't understand it. I didn't know why I react like that. Why does my body go into this fight or flight? But then once I started doing this work, I started to realize that this was my fuel. It was my superpower, and it's what drives me, Judge me and I get triggered, man, I'm only going to go higher and higher and higher. So every time it happens with my mum, like I remember one time I'm at my house, in a house in Sydney, and I was organising Christmas, and it was Christmas Eve, and normally, like Polish tradition, culture, you don't drink on Christmas Eve, alcohol. And I was like, fuck that, I'm having drinks. I'm having the family over. First time I'm hosting everybody at my house, I'm bloody having alcohol. She was like, there's no drinks on Christmas Eve. No drinking on Christmas Eve. And I got triggered. I literally felt it. I was messaging on WhatsApp, and I'm lying there, and my heart rate started going up.
Yep.
Just because she said that.
Yep.
And I was like furious, because I was like, fuck that. Yep. No, man, I'm having a drink. I don't give a shit, But that was just the part of me that, again, doesn't like to be controlled, So, you learn to deal with it, and that's why, as well, there's other people that may be in your life as well that you could be triggered by, but you just have to do your job to stay away from them. And I think that's why protecting your peace and not feeling guilty for doing what's right for you, especially with family and other relatives and stuff, it's easy for you to say, well, let's just invite everyone. It's like, no, invite the people that you want to surround yourself with, the people that bring you peace, the people that are there to create a positive environment, not one where you're going to have to be tiptoeing around because this person's going to say this or that. It's like, that's what I'm saying. Secret number one of self-love: do exactly what's right for you.
Does your mum still trigger you?
Yeah, there's going to be moments. It's always going to happen. It's not, you don't get to this point, and I've communicated with her because I lived there for 18 months as I was starting this work, and there was moments where she just, I was infuriated. It was the worst, but I faced it, and I would talk to her, and I would try to process it, and eventually what I learned is that, again, you can't change people.
I say that because when you say you invite people to keep the peace, and if you invite your mum, how is that keeping your peace? Because I have a similar problem. I get very triggered over my mum as well.
It's grown. Like, our relationship has grown.
Sure.
So I need to see progress. If she was very abrupt, negative, and like,
trying progress.
Absolutely. Like because she's watched me grow.
Yeah.
And I can see how she has been able to, even though it's been very different for her, she doesn't understand this whole journey of affluence and success and this different life. Like, you're coming from bloody communist Poland, you know what I mean? Like, and so it's scary. That's all it is. Anyone who doubts or fears or doesn't believe in you or doesn't think you can do things is just projecting their own fears and insecurities because they haven't been there. They don't understand it. And so, that's kind of where it was for my mum. But my mum has witnessed me continue to rise. And I also believe, because she's such a holy woman, that her prayers also, for me, have helped me to be this powerful son of hers, and I do this as a joke, but I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. And, if they say that Jesus died at 33, well, I'm reborn, I was awakened at 33, so I was like, I'm the chosen one, and everyone can believe that they're the chosen one. You believe what you want to believe. But how is it possible that all of a sudden my life just changed and I decided to make a few decisions that have led me on this path that are changing so many people's lives? So...
Including my friends.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So...
How old are you now?
38.
So you started this journey 5 years ago?
33, yeah.
How important is it to start from the bottom?
Well, most people don't even start because they don't want to be seen at the bottom. But there's just this level of appreciation of looking back now and going, far out, man. 2018, June, I had this dream of moving to Poland. That's what I was doing. And I was trying to set up this business and figure out what I was going to do there. And then I said, I'm going to open a gym. So now I look back at it and I go, wow, look how the time has flown. And that's why I always emphasize time. Time is something that you can't buy. What are you doing with your time? How are you using it? And that's why you have two choices. You have the pain of regret or the pain of growth. They both fucking hurt. And you can choose to not take action, not get out of your comfort zone, not face your fears, not live your dreams because you're comfortable, because you're scared, because you've got this fear of failure. What if it doesn't work out, right? What if I lose? What if people judge me, right? Versus failure is a part of success. Versus getting out of your comfort zone, facing your fears, growing, and being able to be in my position 5 years later, looking back and going, fuck, man, I'm so glad that I started 5 years ago. So starting from the bottom is actually a blessing, because this is how, as Tony Robbins says, progress equals happiness. And when you're always growing and you're making progress, you're fucking fulfilled, And again, I also believe in karma. I really believe in everybody has their own karma, and I believe do the right thing. When you do the right thing, it comes back. Everything comes back, and it's also a mindset too. Your reticular activating system of your mind is activated when you're focusing on the right thing, because every time you do good, you just see goodness everywhere. Everything's coming back to you, you know? So it's really what you focus on as well. And if you focus on do the right thing, you always are living a very positive life, you know? And if you're focusing on doing shifty stuff and doing the wrong thing, then it also can bite you in the ass as well. Because guess what? Most of the time, if you're hanging around people that are doing the wrong thing or shifty business or whatever, then, you know, it comes with shit, you know? But again, I'm not here to judge people. Like, it's your dharma, man. It's your decision on how you want to live. Like, you know, everybody has choices to make in their life, and the consequences come with that. So do your thing, man. I'm not here to judge no one, man. I don't give a shit. Like it's do what you got to do. But yeah, that's really just part of the journey, and starting from the bottom is very important.
If there's somebody going through a breakup right now, his girlfriend left him, what advice would you have that person that's brokenhearted, left, feeling rejected? What's the first step?
Well, go and have a drink so that you can numb the pain, because it hurts. Yeah.
Feel the pain.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of my alcohol and drinking and drugs was just to numb the pain, because even the girls that I was settling for, I knew that they weren't the one, you know? And so I was always trying to cover that feeling up by using that shit, right? But when you're going through a rejection or a breakup, it hurts, but it's happening on purpose. The universe is clearly telling you that this person is not for you, but we don't want to believe that or honor that truth, because we have a belief that, no, this is what I'm supposed to be. This is the person I'm supposed to be with. And then there's also the fear of being alone. There's the fear of, you know, having to tell everybody that I'm not in a relationship anymore. And love is a drug, man. Like it's powerful. You know, when you have a healthy relationship with someone, it empowers the shit out of you. You become like 10 times more powerful because of the energetic exchange of somebody that actually is thriving themselves. And that's why, again, it's your environment. You know, you have a partner that's thriving, that loves herself, loves himself or herself, the best version of themselves, and you are the same. It's fucking powerful. But the reason why I can, you know, really appreciate rejection is because I've been rejected. And part of my success is the fuel that I've gained and been injected with because of the feelings that I've had to process and the pain that I've had to go through because of the amount of pouring that I did, trying to prove that I was worthy of their love, trying to prove myself to these women, and then it not working in my favor. You know, like giving love, giving money, doing everything possible, you know, and still not being good enough. Them still not accepting me, loving me for who I am. And that story, I'll just touch on it, 2012, where I met this beautiful South American, she's from Colombia, and I believed that she was the one. And so, you know, after a month, I asked her to marry me, and you know, because I knew she was leaving as well. She had to go back to Colombia. So I was like under pressure because I was like, oh my God, she's the one, you know, I need to hook her up and get married and get a ring and this and that. So I went to the Hunter Valley and I asked her to marry me, and she said yes. And again, I was 27 and there was the pressure of like, but I felt like she was the one and whatever. But anyway, so I did everything in my power. I would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning on Skype and I'd call her. I would try to stay connected with her. I went and did the visas and immigration and everything so that she could move to Australia. I fucking bought her a fucking Honda Prelude. I went and above and beyond, and I, you know, went into more debt. Like I was willing to do, and that's what I'm saying. Love will fucking make you do some crazy shit. Hence why a lot of people get manipulated and financially in relationships, because they think and believe that they're in love, and only to find out that a lot of people screw them over financially because it's all it was about. You know, so please, people, fucking that's the thing. You have to be tapped in. You got to know yourself so well, and you can't afford to. You got to know the other person as well. And how do you get to know someone? Time, communication, time. Yeah, a lot of people, they fall in love so quickly and then they give everything away. And you don't even know the fucking person. You don't know their history. You don't know who they are, what they've been through. So that's just a quick one on that. But a week before the wedding, we paid for the wedding. It's happening in Colombia. And she calls me and she's crying and she's like, I can't do this. And I was like,
how many years in?
Oh, 8 months. The first year. So like, you know, I invited my uncle from Poland. He's coming with his daughter and my cousin, you know, son. And my dad's coming, my sister's coming, my sister's daughter's coming. So like, this is real shit, man. Even all my friends were like, what the fuck? Like, how can he do that? How can he just go and get married after 1 month? You know, like it's crazy shit. And the thing is, I'm sure there's people out there that have done that. They met their fucking soulmate, they met the person, and they knew that it was right, and they got married straight away. It's like, why wait? Why? Who says you have to wait 3 or 5 years to say, this is the person I feel connected to and I want to be with, and let's get married? There's no right or wrong. That's what I'm saying. This is called open mind. If you think it's right, go and do it, okay? Because if it's wrong, you'll learn the lesson, or you'll learn from it, right? But a week before, she said no. And that really hurt me. It fucked me, man. For the next 6.5 years, I was living in resentment, and I was angry, and I hated her, and I was getting emails from her and shit, and she was like, tell me about your life, tell me about you. And I'm like, fuck off. You know, I don't want to freaking talk to you. So I held a lot of pain in there because of that experience. So what I learned from it was, now, every time something happens, it happens on purpose. It happens for a reason. It's teaching you something. And I needed to be fueled by that pain to grow. It helped me grow. But when you think about it, why would you want to force someone to be with you when they don't want to be with you? It should be natural, you know? So, and I was trying to force it. And if you're forcing something, it's not flowing, you know? So you want it to flow. A good relationship is something that flows. It's natural. It's not something that you have to push. Like, come on, come be with me. It's like, well, if I wanted to be with you, I'd be with you, but I don't. I don't feel that way. And I think so many people out there like just forcing shit too much. And it's like, when it's not flowing, it's not natural, you know? So the rejection part of it is like, when you're rejected, good. It's showing you that this person doesn't want to be with you. And if they don't want to be with you, why do you want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you? Let them go. It's like sitting here thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to meet someone. There's fucking billions of people in the world. You know, so it's having a little bit more belief in yourself and knowing that, well, you know, if this is not meant for me, there's going to be someone else. But a lot of the times, there's such a great opportunity for you to grow from the relationship. And take the time, which so many people don't do, because they go into rebound relationships because they can't deal with the pain of rejection. So by getting into another relationship straight away, guess what? They don't process the pain. They don't heal from the relationship. They don't heal themselves. They don't grow. So then they attract a similar person, and that numbs the pain, because then they get to connect and they get to love again and they get to feel, oh, I'm with someone again, right? Rather than being with ourselves. So that's why like being with yourself and experiencing solitude is powerful, right? Because you're going through all these feelings of like not feeling good enough. I'm not with someone. What am I going to do? Am I good enough, you know? And that's the big fucking like opportunity for people, that if someone rejects you, it's a blessing. It's a blessing from God to say, this person is not from you. The universe is saying, hey, take a chill pill, go and work on yourself, learn to love yourself, grow, overcome your fears, because if you want better in your life, go and become better and you'll attract better. Simple as that. But even then, you may not attract the right person. But I believe that every person that comes into your life that you allow into your proximity is there to teach you something. And you learn from it.
How necessary is heartbreak for males?
Well, heartbreak has helped me a lot, man. It's helped me grow. And that's why I say that the relationships that didn't work for me hurt me. Hurt me so much that I said, no more girlfriends. That's what I'm saying. It's a blessing. Because since 2018 to now, I haven't been in a relationship.
2018.
18. So 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? And look what's happened to my life. I think the other thing that's beautiful to know is, and I know this, is that, you know, women want to feel safe. They want security. They want to feel that they are with someone that can take care of them. And not to say that I want a woman that doesn't have her shit together. Nah, man. I want a fucking woman that has her shit together, that's fucking confident, that knows her worth. She knows her power. And she's done the work on herself so that I don't have to do it on her. Because the last thing that I want to do is to coach and to fucking help a girl heal.
Sure.
You know, I want her to have her shit together so that, you know, when you connect, you just get it.
Yeah.
And I believe that what's right, it will feel right, and you don't have to force shit, man.
Yeah.
But the heartbreak is a blessing because it just pushed me in the direction of like, Luke, here you are trying to love all these girls, and you want love. You want them to love you. But why would they love you if you don't even love you? And that was the moment. That was the light bulb. It's like, yeah, I'm like trying to get all these girls and I'm trying to like make people fall in love with me, and I'm trying to be happy, that I realize that I think that if I have a girlfriend, then I'll be happy, right? It's the same thing as a fucking car, fucking anything else. It's like you think that if you have that, you're going to be happy. But if you don't have happiness here, it starts from you. So this is what this journey has taken me through, is realizing that, you know, you want other people to love you, but you don't love you. So that's the journey that I took. I was like, before I'm going to love others, I'm going to love myself first. And so heartbreak is definitely necessary. And if there's any men watching right now, embrace it.
You come across real alpha, masculine. I think women, like I was thinking before, women will throw themselves at you. There's not a lot of alpha men anymore. Some of the women that I speak to here, they always say, you know, men have become so feminine. So, you know, I'm sure you got women throwing themselves at you. I don't know. So you haven't found one that meets your criteria?
Yeah. I still have a lot of growing to do, to be honest. I know that I have a lot of influence and I do what I do, but I also still believe, and it's very possible that, you know, I could attract someone that could be on the frequency that I'm on or whatever, but it hasn't happened yet, and I just won't settle. You know, I won't settle for less just because I'm impatient to wait for better. I won't settle for less just because it's available. And I just won't make a settlement with my life when I know what I deserve. And even if that means that I'm going to live the rest of my life with myself because I don't want to settle, because I'm not attracting what I believe I deserve, then so fucking be it. But I will not sacrifice myself to say that, okay, well, this is what there is, so just settle. I'm like, fuck that. And that's the difference between someone who's insecure, someone who yearns for love, to be loved, and then sacrifices themselves into a toxic relationship, or a relationship that doesn't have the fruit of something that's healthy, that hasn't been nourished, right, and taken care of, and now you have to bear someone who's abusive or manipulative because you fucking settled. It's like, nah, bro, fuck off. I'm not settling. I will attract what I deserve. And so many people sacrifice themselves because they lack confidence in themselves, they lack their self-worth, and they haven't gone through the process of developing themselves and healing their past. You know, so yes, when I speak, I can come across very, you know, masculine and, you know, dominating or that kind of energy, you know, but really I'm fucking quiet, bro. I'm quiet. I'm quiet. I'll make you laugh.
Yeah.
You know, I do weird shit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I've seen you dancing.
you know, that's, you know, but I like that.
Yeah.
That's really healing as well, man. Moving
Yeah.
your body, and I love music. I could never dance
Yeah.
to music. Naturally, I was always high. So when I was drinking or snorting coke or ecstasy pills and shit, that's when I could dance because I could connect with the energy of the sound. So it took me a little bit of time to practice dancing and hearing the sound of the music that I love to listen to, and then dancing. And now I got a really good flow, and I feel connected when I hear the music, and I love it. You know, it's something that I love, and a lot of people obviously vibe with it because so many of my videos have gone viral. Because
I've seen a few of them.
yeah.
How do you recharge? Do you meditate, or is dancing a form of meditation for you?
Nah, man. Sleep, gym. I really like going to the gym.
Yep.
It's just a switch off. You know, hang out talk to friends, family. Sometimes, going for a walk. You know, I really enjoy walking on the marina, looking at the boats and the water. But yeah, I'm not, you know, maybe in the future, I don't like reading. I like driving. Sometimes when I have a long day or whatever, I just get in the car and go for a drive. So I like doing that, listening to music. But again, there's, you know, everyone has this like perception of like someone who's really successful, and, you know, you hear it a lot in like personal development space of like meditation, journaling, gratitude. You know, I say this because I program my mind to be that way every time I go live or I do a podcast. I say it's a blessing to be alive. You know, because it is, and that's something I start with all the time. That's my what do they call it? Mantra. Yeah, it's a blessing to be alive. And so what is that doing? Your mind is always listening. You are always listening to yourself. What are you saying? So I'm always programming my mind that it's a blessing to be alive. And so I'm always living in this perpetual state of gratitude, of appreciation for life. I'm grateful to be here, and I'm going to use my life to be that beacon of light. You know, because for so many years I was hiding, I was scared, and I was living in fear, and fear is like the worst disease. Fear is worse than cancer. Fear is worse than diabetes. Fear is worse than fucking everything. It will suck you dry. It will hold you back from your dreams and from your happiness, and you have to fight back. And so that's the basis and the purpose of my work, is to motivate people to face their fears, you know, and to push, because without it, you won't grow, and life sucks.
I read somewhere the biggest thing that I fear is fear itself.
Yeah.
And one of the most toxic feelings that you can have in your body is fear and anger. It's like gas and handbrake at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, your body doesn't know where to go or stop.
Yeah, like people are driving around in like neutral, pressing the accelerator, but nothing's happening.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or people are driving around in drive, but really they've got a fucking sports button.
Yeah.
And they're not pressing it.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid of how fast it might
Yeah,
go.
that's another way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know?
Because they're too scared of the speed.
Yeah.
What they could become.
So, yeah, man, it's...
Sometimes they might think their self-worth isn't there yet. They don't think they're worth becoming what they can become. Therefore,
You're not supposed to have it. You don't just have self-worth all of a sudden and go, I'm worthy. You fucking get self-worth because you take action and you face your fears and you build something. You know, I've built self-worth and knowing my worth because of the work that I've done over the last 5 years. You know, and it's even to look back further than that. It's like the 5 years that I did was, developing myself, building my company and becoming who I am. But the years before that, that was all part of it as well. You know, like rejections in relationships and things not going my way, working in the government and doing what I did as a driver tester and, you know, snorting cocaine and fucking feeling insecure for so many years and playing soccer with my mates. Like everything played a part. You know, customer service was something I couldn't appreciate, and I did customer service in every fucking job. But I always wondered, what is it? Who am I? Like, what am I good at? What am I supposed to be doing? Little did I know that all these jobs that I was doing, customer service was the biggest part of it. And now I have my own company, and customer service is the heart of everything that you do. And if you don't know how to take care of people, good luck with your business thriving. You know, so, but again, the culture in my company is all about empathy, understanding, communication, and love. And when you can really help people to feel loved and to feel understood, they want to work with you, man. You know, and I think that's what's missing just in humanity is obviously, I think the hard part is just the resistance to change. People are so used to being a specific way, and working on your trauma or your past or what you've been through in the past is just so confronting and challenging that you will resist what's uncomfortable. But sometimes it takes a little bit of time for you to continue to go in the wrong direction and to be hurt time and time and time again, for you to feel enough pain, because pain will, as I think Les Brown says this, he goes, you take action from two things, either inspiration or desperation. So until you get desperate, most of the time, you won't take action. And sometimes you got to get so hurt that you got no other option but to go, okay, my back's against the wall, I'm on the ground, on the floor right now. And like Les Brown says, if you can look up, you can get up. You got comeback power.
If you can look up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it does. It matters. You're investing in yourself. I say, you know, Warren Buffett, you know, he says that the biggest investment that you can make in your life is in yourself. And I elaborate on that to say the biggest investment that you can make is in your own personal development and healing, to actually work on what's holding you back. Not just investing in yourself, because investing in yourself can be go to the university, learn something, get a degree in something, you know. Investing in yourself can be watching YouTube, but I'm talking about the real shit, man. I'm talking about, what are you afraid of? What are you hiding? What are you masking? What are you pretending like it's all good, but really you're unhappy, you know? And working on that stuff, because our past affects our future. And that's why I say your past is created here. Everything that you do today is helping you become who you're wanting to become tomorrow. So what are you becoming? And most of us, because we haven't worked on the past, we ruminate on what we've been through, which is a bunch of thoughts about our trauma, our pain, our insecurities, what happened, the shame. We're ruminating on it in our minds, so much so that eventually what happens, it becomes a thought process that's been thought over so many times, which becomes the belief, which then becomes your reality. And then you wonder, why am I attracting toxic relationships? Why am I not getting what I deserve, right? And so you're living in the past, and so you're creating the future, the reality, which is basically just the past. Insecurities, pain, shame, and you attract that into your life, you know? So that's why it's up to you to take responsibility, to have the courage to go, yes, I'm going to work on my shit so that now I have clarity, mental clarity. I have peace to be able to look ahead, have a vision, and go, where do I want to be? Who do I want to become? And then go and do that without being conflicted or victimized because of what I've been through in the past. Because the past is the past, man. You can't change it. But you can change the story.
The future.
You can change the story of the past, right? So whatever you've been through, it's happened. And you can say, well, this person did this to me. And you can say, well, you know what? I'm fucking powerful because they did that. Because I survived it. You know? And so I'm so grateful that I was rejected. I'm so grateful. You know, I was doing an exercise with my clients the other day on Zoom. And it's this priming exercise by Tony Robbins. And he says, now I want you to go into the past and I want you to grab one thing that you're so grateful for. And I was like thinking, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm going to go into the past and I'm going to grab that moment where she said no to me. She rejected me. And I'm so grateful she rejected me, because if I got married to her, 100% I would have got her pregnant and I would have got a divorce within the first year. 100%. Right. So I'm so grateful she said no, because I wouldn't be the person I am today if she had said yes. So, you know.
That's so important to look at your past and not be the victim, and look at it in a positive aspect of who the person you are today and how it benefited you. You know, I read somewhere, change only happens when the pain of change is less than staying the same.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
And that, I think, is you know, a lot of people are scared of the pain of the change. And I think if you push yourself even before it gets to that pain of staying the same, which I think you've done.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I can even get into my comfort zone sometimes. And my business coach, whenever he tells me to do something new, it pisses me off. Because I'm like, fucking hell, man. Like, I've just got comfortable with doing this. Now I have to grow into this. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's always another level. And my friend from Sydney, Chris Simons, is like, every level there's a new devil.
Every level there's a new devil.
And you have to beat that devil. You have to fight back. You have to fight that, whatever that is, that monster that's saying, you can't do it. You can't learn this. You can't change. You can't grow. You can't become better. You know, so, and that's the thing. Where's the fulfillment and the confidence come from? It comes from beating that, conquering it.
Character building.
That's it. That's all it is. You know?
I want to talk about your business. Well, tell me about that. How many staff do you have? Where is it based? What is it that you guys specialize in?
At the moment, I have 5.5 yes, I have, I'd say 5 staff. There was one, but she, I think she's not ready yet to jump on board. But, I mean, it's online. So, you know, I have, one person in the UK, one in Warsaw, Poland, another one in Sydney, and then 2 in the Philippines. And so basically it's all online, you know, which obviously gives me the freedom to be able to travel and to be able to live in Dubai, you know. What is it specifically? So I have a coaching business, you know, and it's basically based off my teachings of self-love and building that superpowered confidence by, you know, really reframing the way you think. And like I say, you know, it's a process of reprogramming your mind, because if you don't change the way you think won't change. If you don't start doing things you've never done before, you will continue to be the same, you know. And this experience that I create is based off a very empowering community, right? And that's why I always say, with whom you surround yourself with is whom you become. But it's basically a 20-week program that I've created, and I don't even know how I did it, to be honest. It's just like, I was ready to take action. My business coach reached out to me. He's like, bro, do you need help? And I was like, I just got scammed over $100,000, and I was trying to start a coaching business, and then I was skeptical, and I was like, well, this person seems like they know what they're doing. Let's try. And then I just said, yes, sounds like it might be good. Let's give it a try. And 7 weeks later, I had my first client, you know, but I had to take that risk because I had $500 left. I was in debt, you know. And yeah, the start of it was like, you know, moving away from the conventional private, because all I was doing was trying to get people to come talk to me. I was spending like an hour and a half with them, and then they would say, okay, I'll think about it. So I didn't have a system, I didn't have a process, I didn't have an understanding of like how to talk to people, how to make an offer to them, or how to understand sales at all, all that stuff. I was wasting so much time with people on private calls. I was going on TikTok live at 1 o'clock in the morning in my parents' garage, and I was inviting people, send me an email, lukemindpower@gmail.com. So I didn't have a system, I didn't have nothing. So I didn't know what I was doing. So I was spending and wasting so much time, and I wasn't getting any results, you know. And I think I got like 1 or 2 clients from it, because I guess, you know, sometimes you just, you know, be so good they can't ignore you no matter what, right? But when he reached out to me, and then within like a few weeks, I started creating the program. You know, I started, you know, developing the modules of my program, which is called the Superpower Mastermind. And so it was just one step at a time, man. You know, and I created the work for people to go through, a workbook, you know. And so that's basically now got, you know, we work on your mind and helping you to reframe it, rewire it, reprogram it. And then we take you through a journey of self-love. And then once you've done that work, you're ready to now work on your past. And then we get you to work on your inner child and to reparent yourself and to look at your past and to look at those deeper wounds and things that may have happened that may have caused you to really be disconnected from yourself and to not, that's why we don't have that confidence. And then there's work on relationships and healing in relationships and really understanding how to protect your energy and your communication. There's there's so much. And then obviously, there's a lot of reflection, communication in vulnerability, understanding the power of vulnerability and why it's so important in your relationship with yourself and others. So there's a whole journey of this work, and it's in a community, and then you're connecting with myself and my success coaches every single week on Zoom. So
you have weekly meetings?
Absolutely, we have weekly coaching sessions.
One-on-one?
No,
group. Yeah,
group.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. So we're working together. We've got groups that we work together. My success coaches take on people. I take on people, and we work together throughout the week to keep everyone accountable and supporting people's journeys throughout the process, because it's uncomfortable. It's hard. It's not easy. I tell people when I'm on calls with them, I say, listen, if you want transformation, I said, this is going to fucking get you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I said, if you want to walk in a park, I said, we have to stop the call right now, because I'm not here to waste your time. But that's why we have the community. That's why you're surrounded by people who are taking action, doing this work together. And that's why you have myself and my team to support you through the journey so that you can stay accountable and so you can get the results. And then I've got a speaking program, which is called Speak and Transform. It's a 32-day program inside a Facebook community where people have access to a membership area, and they have a step-by-step guide to do this work to become a better speaker, communicator, and there's little strategies and techniques that I teach to help people to develop their confidence as a communicator, as a speaker, and how to really engage with audience as well. So I've got that as well, and then I do have private clients as well. So that's really the basis of my business, my company, and what I do right now. But obviously, I've got a couple of speaking events in California and in Atlanta, September, October this year. So, it's a process, plus the podcast, the podcast is very big as well. So there's a lot that's going on,
doing a lot.
But again, it can get overwhelming, and it's always about learning, and sometimes I don't even know how I'm doing it.
So grateful for you. So grateful that that somebody like you is around to, and what's really grateful, I think, in all this is that you're Aussie. We can put you on our chest and say that's our guy. Wear you like a badge. So I think you're so necessary, especially now when a lot of these things. I mean, 20 years ago, people didn't even know about this. You talk about what's your love language? 20 years ago, they didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
What's a love language? And now we as science is developing, as psychology is developing, we're understanding the inner child and your trauma, and it's so good that someone like you is out there helping people to heal that, to stop it from going on to the next generation, to the kids. So you're a gentleman. Appreciate your time. We've got a little tradition on this show.
Oh, yeah?
Before we finish, we like to ask a question to all our guests. If you could have a dinner party with anybody in the world, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
With anybody at all?
Dead or alive.
Dead
now,
or alive.
It's a dinner party.
Dinner party.
So not one-on-one. It's a group conversation. You and 3 people.
Oh, 3 people. Yeah. I reckon Jim Rohn would be a good guy.
That's the second time we've had Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn, yeah. He's a great speaker. And a dinner party. I reckon Jesus would be good. Jesus would be a good bloke to sit down and have a wine with.
Yeah. Or water. You can stand at the water. Yeah.
And who would be the third person?
Jesus is a risky one.
Just because of his his humility and his love. That's the only reason why I put him in there. And it's not about the religion for me. It's just about what I know of him, what I've heard of him as a person.
Yeah.
Just the fact that he was so loving, and he wasn't that person that fought back. If they fucking hit him, that he let him. And I feel like that's kind of me as well. I have a lot of that too. Like, you can hate on me, you can judge me, you can try and hurt me, and I'll just take it and I'll just keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
And I'll grow and become stronger because of it. But But then the other one that kind of comes to mind maybe, and I know it's kind of religious in a sense too, but again, I grew up a lot with my parents and stuff with John Paul II, the Pope.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he comes from that place of being very, very loving and humble and, you know. But yeah, I'm not really a big, like, I guess, history and all that kind of stuff. And it'd be better if it was someone who's obviously passed that made a big difference or impact in the world. But again, it always comes back to like, who made a difference? Who was peaceful? Who was peaceful? You know, like, so Jim Rohn was more like the teacher and the philosopher and the person that his way of thinking made sense to me. But then the other two is more just about peace. They showed a lot of peace from what I know. And that's what I really feel like, you know, we thrive off, and we can be the change in the world by having peace, because what I say is that your peace is your power. And when you're in your peace, you're in flow. You're in alignment, you're on the highest frequency that you can be, and you have a lot of mental clarity so that you can actually do what you're supposed to do and not sit here and overthink about things that are bothering you or things from the past. So have that peace, and then you're powerful.
Beautiful. Luke, you're a gentleman.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Appreciate you. All your details.